Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in. Tobin here with you. And thanks for checking out the channel. Mercifully, you have after this onslaught that the Miami Heat suffered, this embarrassing, humiliating, demoralizing, frustrating, humbling, 55 record-breaking 55-point loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, swept out of the postseason like a bug. The Miami Heat came back after valiantly being competitive in Game 2. They returned to the Kaseya Center and broke the franchise record for margin of defeat. Not once, but twice. They become the first team to lose back-to-back postseason games by a margin of 30 or more. A lot of humiliating things hung on this team tonight. But the most embarrassing of it all was really, the facts of it are, they walked out there for about 2 minutes. They turned the ball over left and right. Kel'el Ware once again looked overmatched. Tyler Herro was nowhere to be found. Bam Adebayo couldn't make any impact early. And it was over within the first 3 minutes of the game. And that's the truth of it. Andrew Wiggins, a ghost. And it was really over before it started. And it was being there live. I've been there through some bad ones. I have been through some bad ones, okay? This one was it was almost comically bad because of how bad it was, but it dragged. I mean, it was a painful boa constrictor strangulation death, having to wait for that clock to wind down to 0. And you got beat by a double nickel, 55 points on the night. And it's just unfriggin' real. The Cavs did get it to 60 in the closing frame there. Yeah. Not even in their class, not in their weight class, not even in the same combat sport, quite frankly. I mean, the Cavaliers were doing dirty boxing when the Heat were basically showing up and doing Tai Chi. I don't even know what the hell they did today. It wasn't basketball. I know that. Tyler Herro tonight, who for some strange reason this week decided to tell a reporter that he needs Jimmy Butler to win. He then made the weakest bold proclamation of all time, which was, we're not going out 4-0. And I guess that's true if you barely show up for game 4. I guess Tyler Herro was like, Tyler Herro really lost the series 3.5-0 because he barely played tonight. And when he did nothing. 4 points, 1 for 10, minus 44, which I don't even remember what kind of record that was today. I saw that it was, but I was like, what? Minus 44 tonight in how many minutes? Yep, in 30 minutes tonight, Tyler Herro was minus 44. And just, what can you say? Another disappointing effort from him. Not alone on the team, for sure. But this has been a series for him. This is what the series basically came down to. All right? And this is a guy who is going to be extension eligible in October. And this series consisted of getting torn apart in game 1, Very valiant effort in game 2, even though it was part of the reason they got down so big. Falling on his face. But had a good game 2. Then after game 2, gets cheap shotted, just gets slandered, I guess is the word, publicly slandered by Darius Garland. His response to that was to go back at Darius Garland, which I thought was fair. What's fair is fair, tit for tat. But you got to back it up. Darius Garland didn't even have the cajones to go on the court to face him because his toe hurts. But nonetheless, Tyler Herro wet the bed big time in game 3 and worse in game 4. And all in the meanwhile, the Cavaliers are explaining why abusing him was basically the key to the series and exposing him and making sure he doesn't get any shots off, and they're selling out and everything that Spell wants to put on him as far as like, oh, you know, this is really a sign of respect. It didn't feel like they respected him, dude. It did not feel like they respected him in that series. And yeah, it's a big issue. It's a big issue going forward for the franchise and what to do with him. He's not alone because Bam Adebayo tonight didn't do anything to really change the narrative of this game. If people want to come at me with he played hard, big whoop-de-doo, you lost by 55. I mean, kiss my ass with that. 55 points this guy lost the game by. And you want to tell me that he played hard because he gave you what? A double-double in a 55-point loss? Get all the way the hell out of here. 13-12 when you're about to get a max extension to kick in. Spent more time yelling at his teammates at where to be defensively than making any impact on the other side. Jared Allen took his lunch money. Evan Mobley took his lunch money. Absolutely throttled in this series. I don't want to hear it. After game 1, he was a non-factor, and that's the facts. And the only real difference between the two of them is I've seen Bam be good in the playoffs and be a factor for teams that have made deep playoff runs. For Tyler, I mean, look, man, I don't want to do the addition by subtraction. I thought a lot of that stuff was unfair at the time, but it is what it is. Like, you know, they made a finals run without you, and that's just what the resume is right now. And then Andrew Wiggins, I just don't think you could have a guy look like he wanted to be on the Miami Heat any less for a team that was expecting something from him. You know, they were infused. Like the whole thought of the Jimmy Butler trade was, we were getting nothing. We're going to get something. And the facts are that dude who was cosplaying number 22 when he came here gave you worse than nothing. He gave you apathy on top of a bunch of DNPs. And the best part of that trade was Davion Mitchell. Andrew Wiggins was awful. Awful in his time here. Looked like he didn't give a rat's ass. And for everybody who was like, you know, I didn't get like all the people who bust on Andrew Wiggins all the time because it's like, could it be that bad? I get it now. And I really wouldn't be mad if I never saw him in a Heat jersey again. I don't know if he will or will not. Hopefully it goes better next year because I'm sure it was a shock to get traded in the middle of the season. But I'm just telling you, that was one of the most underwhelming short Heat tenures I have seen from a guy who has the credentials of him. An all-star, a champion, sold a bill of goods as he was coming here. Oh, Jimmy once said he was the most talented player back to 2019 with Pat Riley. Yeah, right. Kiss my ass. What a bunch of bullshit. Parental advisory, by the way. I'm not bleeping tonight. I'm not in the mood. It's 12:30. I don't feel like editing bleeps tonight. So be mindful if you're listening to the kids. I'm not going to let them fly like crazy. Can I tell you one thing that really pissed me off tonight? I think, honestly, tonight I came away most angry with Eric Spoelstra. I came away most angry with Eric Spoelstra in this game because this man gets a lot of the benefit of the doubt, all right? And I feel like I could say this because I feel like I've spent most of my professional career defending Erik Spoelstra. I don't feel like Erik Spoelstra really got the rub and the respect nationally until the Heat made the bubble run, and locally in a lot of ways until they made the bubble run. I don't feel like he got the respect he deserved, and it deserved respect with a guy in Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, 21 at the time, an undrafted Duncan Robinson, an undrafted Kendrick Nunn, a 19-year-old Tyler Herro, with some journeyman veterans. And I think that was finally was like, oh man, this guy beat Giannis. He beat the vaunted Celtics. Finally, Erik Spoelstra gets his just due. And then they do it again. And they have a great run when they bring in Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker. And then they do it again with an incredible team with Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. Who are these guys? And there's something to be said for that, right? Erik Spoelstra, respect. He's gotten the respect he deserves. He's gotten monster contracts. He got a monster contract extension, 8 years, $120 million. So good for him. But I got to tell you, and it's been a theme of the year. Not a good season from him. Not a good season from him. And I thought out of everybody, yeah, I'll blame the players mostly because it's a player's game. They play the games. But Erik Spoelstra had nothing for Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson embarrassed Erik Spoelstra, outcoached him thoroughly. Yeah, he's got better ponies. But the thing with Erik Spoelstra is everybody always says, like, and even Kenny Atkinson's like, he doesn't, you never want to, like, say anything. It's like you don't want to startle the Heat because Erik Spoelstra sounds like a crazy person when he talks, and you're like, they're going to play hard. And now on his resume, Erik Spoelstra has the longest losing streak this season. He has the lowest seed to ever make the playoffs. I guess that's something. He paraded that around. He basically wanted to drop a banner for that today. But now he also has, and I guess you'll have this when you stick around long enough, he has a second sweep loss of his career and the two worst playoff losses back-to-back. First team to ever lose by 30-point margin. In fairness, he did have the old record. That was in the 2013 finals. You don't remember that because obviously it came with a championship. But, dude, today, that man could not wait to get Kel'el Ware off the floor. Now, mind you, Ware was bad in this series. And I say that as somebody who roots for Kel'el Ware. I loved watching Kel'el Ware's rookie season. It was a thrill. I thought he was a lot of fun. But Erik Spoelstra basically felt like he threw him out there by duty and didn't really feel invested in having Kel'el's success. And every single time I saw him in the minutes as the series wore on and the patience wore thinner, I saw Kel'el Ware take more threes than get lobs in this series. And nobody did anything to set up the number one alley-oop threat in the NBA since he started starting. And then he says this thing after the game about Kel'el and with Nico and saying that, well, like the standard is the standard. And I need them, if I'm going to treat them, I'm going to expect them to be like 25-year-olds. And I was like, what kind of horse shit is that? To come out here and say, I need them to be 24. Well, guess what, Spo? They're not. They're not, dude. And you've been doing this move your entire career where you don't want to coach young guys. All right? Even Bam Adebayo said this his rookie year. Hated the way that you coached him. Didn't feel like you put him in the right role. And I know everybody says, well, they're going to play when they go. Sure, he's got the resume to do that now. But also, he's got the resume, and if you're going to be talked about as one of the legends of the game, to say, well, it's not on me, it's on them because they need to be at a 25. I have to remind myself that Nico's going to be 22, that he's not 25. It's like, well, yeah, you do. And you've been doing this shit since Michael Beasley, where Michael Beasley wasn't ready for you. And you never trusted him down the stretch. You're like, I'm not doing that. Give me Haslam. Not doing it. And the strange thing about it is the only guy that I've ever seen in his career for a guy in Erik Spoelstra who obviously trusts older players. Not just veterans, but older rookies as well. Guys who are rejects and cast-off and undrafteds when they're like 24 years old. That's why he does well with the Struces, the Gabe Vincents, the Caleb Martins. Guys who maybe just bounce around, but he's going to give him another chance to. But this team has shifted in philosophy of getting guys who are a little bit younger and needing to get something from those guys. And first of all, you basically had to get to the middle of the season before you even gave Kalel a chance. Same thing happened with Nico. And the only reason you played Nico in this series, who ended up being one of your more, I guess not reliable because he had bad numbers, but even today, he was one of the only guys who showed energy and pride throughout the entirety of it. And the only reason that happened is because he's 6'10". And you're like, well, I need somebody who's tall. Can't just have Haywood Highsmith out there the whole time. And I just thought from Spo's perspective, when I heard that today after the game, the standard's not going to change. I need them to be 25. No, dude, your standard does have to adjust a little bit, and you have to find better ways to reach these kids. Because honestly, if you can't do that, then pass the baton off to somebody else. You got a coaching staff with a lot of guys who are willing to work with them, and Chris Quinn or Dan Bisacchio or Caron Butler or whomever. But if the part of the job is you got to work with young guys and get the most out of them, you coach so half-assed on Kalel Ware this series. You couldn't wait not to trust him in this series. I know he played bad, but you also you injected that sense of disbelief in him. It was noticeable. It was noticeable all year. And he did the same thing with Nico when he was coming up, where you wouldn't play him. You sent him down to the G League. Jimmy Butler had to come up and say, stop playing him at the 5. He's not a 5. Bam Adebayo has said he didn't like the way that you coached him as a rookie. And yet there's only one person on this roster that's gotten to play by different rules. Michael Beasley didn't even get to play by the rules Tyler Herro did, because for his entirety of his career, Tyler Herro's gotten to go around here. He's gotten to take whatever shot that he wants. He's gotten to shoot whatever he wants. He's gotten to have, the only thing that he ever did with a sacrifice was take the most shots on the team, but didn't get introduced to the starting lineup. He whined about it all year. Then you put him in the starting lineup, even though it wasn't the best thing for the team. And meanwhile, every team is laughing at it because he's so piss poor on defense that they know it's the key to exposing every Heat team. And you come out every single game and all you say is, well, that's a sign of respect. No, dude. Where's the sign of respect for the rest of the roster? This was a horrible year by you. And what did you come into this year with this offensive plan? Your offenses have been shit for the last 5 years. You came in with what? Your genius plan that Terry Rozier and Tyler Herro were going to chuck up a bunch of threes? No wonder Jimmy Butler was rats off a ship. He's like, I'm out on this. And I'm not letting Jimmy Butler get off scot-free on it, because I know that it had to do with money, and that's more of why he was rats off a ship. But even just this year, things that were obvious. You rode Terry Rozier, you kept going to that. Well, I don't know if you had a big sense in that trade or what, but you kept trying to make that work, and it just was so clear this year that wasn't going to work. I don't get it. I sat here flummoxed many a game. And by the end of it, what I have is, well, I need them. The standard's not going to change. I need them to be 25 years old. I'm going to treat them like they're 25 years old. All right. Good for you. Congratulations. Good for your standard. Your standard has left you with 1 playoff win over the last 2 years. Your standard has left you with 8 straight playoff losses. Your standard saw you get pants by Michael Malone, Joe Mazzulla, and Kenny Atkinson. And maybe you'll have the distinct honor of being the team that got eliminated by by 3 straight next NBA champions. Maybe that'll be your calling card, Spo. I don't know. And I get it. You called this year unacceptable. Duh. But you also try to, This entire year, you'd get on this and you'd be like, one, you buried your head during the Jimmy Butler thing publicly. You know, you never gave us, you never fully encapsulated what the hell was going on. And then, on top of it, once it was all over, you kept saying nonsense like, there's something beautiful on the other side, and there's some beauty in the struggle. And the thing is now you have all your players doing your reruns because they're all sitting here saying, like, don't let go of the rope. Don't let go of the rope. Dude, you guys were like floppy water skiers out there. That's how hard you were holding the rope. Getting boat raced by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I get it, dude. Hey, the Cavs are better. Okay? The Cavs are better. But this is, you know, people talk about heat culture or whatever, or your standard or whatever. What a stain on the franchise this is. 55 points you lost by in your building 48 hours after losing by 37? And the thing is everybody gives you this sense of respect because of that logo, because of that fireball, because of that culture. Kenny Atkinson had to bullshit all of us and say, they're really a 4 seed. They're not a 10 seed. And for what? To go down in infamy? And you want to say that these guys gotta grow up? No, you need to grow up, dude. You need to get with the times. I don't know what the hell's happened, but like, what is the thing that's your calling card anymore? Oh no, suppose going to the zone. No, it's like, what's his calling card? Hustle guys who are overlooked, who, you know, when I can't trust young guys, I'm going to go to 6'7" guys to go play the 5. And that'll work. Some cute cuts on the baseline. Jaime Jaquez Jr. got worse this year. You coached him into oblivion. What got better this year? What got better? And I'll give you a little wiggle room on the Jimmy stuff. Okay. But you kept using some bullshit called clarity that you kept saying. We have clarity. The more clarity you got, the worse you got. And strangely, that's almost like a calling card of your career. You're almost better with more adverse situations than you are better ones. And we're sitting here, and I'm like, you know, do I really trust that he's going to trust any of these young guys to make the leap next year? Will he trust Kel'el Ware to be out there? Will he trust Nikola Jovic, who's very hard on himself, by the way? So, yeah, I ended up today lashing out at Spo a little bit. I apologize. But you want to know something? Greatly respect the way that he's come up. I know that he's a basketball genius, and I'm an untrained bum. I have the untrained eye, and I'm a bum when it comes to basketball. But I listened to a lot of hocus pocus this year, and there are no more magic tricks for the Miami Heat. They need to get back and figure this thing out, because this was awful. And we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about over the offseason. We'll talk tomorrow about what Bam had to say in the press conference. But this was humiliating, man. Humiliating. Humiliating for Bam Adebayo. Humiliating for Tyler Herro. Humiliating for Andrew Wiggins. But most of all, this needs to be humiliating for Eric Spoelstra. And Pat Riley. He'll get his time too. I know everybody's like, oh, you guys better grill him. All right. Congrats. I don't know. What do you guys think that means? You think Pat Riley, who's been around basketball for 50, 60 years, what do you think? He's going to go cry in the corner and suck his thumb? He's the Godfather, for God's sakes. I agree. Things need to change. Your captain seems to think they are. We'll see. Hasn't been enough of it. But hopefully, whatever that change is, hopefully, it's up to the standard of this dear legendary coach with his record-breaking extension, and that he would have, heavens to Betsy, if he could coach somebody who has higher car insurance and it doesn't ruffle his feathers too much. And, the Heat right now, they're in a spot with the way this season went and where they sit. Anything's on the table. I don't know what's going to happen, because here's the thing. Even with the Orcas or the Whale, whoever's out there, is this a viable destination? Awesome city. I think people would want to play with Bam Adebayo. I think they'd want to play with Tyler Herro. I don't really know. I think they'd want to play with Eric Spoelstra. That's the idea. But is that brand what it is, what it once was? I would say this is the most damaged the Heat brand has been in a while. It's not all their fault. I get it. Jimmy was unprofessional this year. Took a Molotov cocktail to the season. Not saying there's not reasons for it. But 8 straight playoff losses. White hot Heat. Killed. Back-to-back. Record-breaking defeats. These guys got a lot to think about this offseason. Because I know the fans are pissed, and they have a right to be. People in that front office, that coaching staff, in that locker room, you guys got a lot of work to do. And I don't necessarily know who the guys are to get those solutions, to get them to the next step. But the guys who are going to stick around, you guys got a lot of work to do. That was unbelievably embarrassing. And I'm sorry for anybody who paid their hard-earned money to go watch that, because that was a bullshit performance and a bullshit series from the Miami Heat. Caps are better. There's no doubt about that. But to lose in that fashion, that badly, for shame.